Bonjour à tous, welcome everyone. I'm Nelsie Mercier. I'm working for La Napoule Art Foundation, Château de la Napoule. And I first want to thank you for attending the first online event organized by Alive. Alive is a group of men and women, artists, professors, art workers, who share a special interest for creativity, art, and climate change. We also share an optimistic and inspiring vision of climate education. I am pleased to briefly introduce my colleagues who will speak for you today. Marianne Mensah, who is a professor of climate change. She is passionate about climate change education and its challenges. She contributed to a lot of publications on the subject and worked for international organizations on climate change and sustainability projects. Emmanuel Fillot, a French visual artist and poet. Emmanuel works on our relationship to the living, to nature, to the biosphere, and how we are getting in relationship with one another. Ana Maria Hernando, an Argentinian living in the US, Boulder, Colorado visual artist, working on painting, poetry, installation work. Ana Maria shows in her work a special interest on questioning the balance between material and transcendent and our relationship with nature. Rominar Romer, a composer, pianist, improviser, performer. She's an Argentinian artist too, actually living in France to complete her PhD in Nice. She's working on electro music, computer music, pedagogical actions. She is listening to nature and to the universe around us and make it audible for us. I also want to introduce a special guest, Tonya Quinn, who is part of our group. She was here at the beginning of the adventure, and she's the founder of the Kindness Empire, and share with us the interest about education and environment. I know you're probably listening, so hello, Tonya. We're very pleased to have you. I hope you will enjoy sharing this experience with us. Do not hesitate to ask your question in the chat, whether you're looking via Zoom or via YouTube. And we'll take some time at the end of the presentation to discuss them. The first speaker to share our enthusiasm about climate education and our teaching experience with us is Marianne Mensah. Welcome, Marianne.
Thank you, Nelsie, for this introduction. It's a great joy to be part of Alive. Today, I teach climate change to students in higher education. And it's very interesting to discuss with students about tackling climate change because they come with a lot of fresh ideas, with energy. And I learn a lot in the process. For me, the overall objective of climate education is to empower the students to become actors of the transition to a low carbon society. And so I learn in the classroom on how to engage people in addressing climate change. And the first thing I learn is about the importance of creativity. Yes, we need science to get the facts. Yes, we need activism to raise awareness, but we also need creativity. Why? It's because climate change is not only about environment, but it's also about society, about engaging people. Everything starts with an intention, a vision. We need to imagine a new society that will be carbon neutral and resilient to climate change. If we want this vision to be attractive to people, we also need to imagine a society that will improve people's life and well-being. And in this process, neuroscientists tells us that it's our right brain that does the job. And this is why creativity is so essential in addressing climate change. This leads me to the second important element that I learned in the classroom, and it's about the role of art and culture. Culture and art have the power to help us change paradigm. They help us accelerate the transition to a more sustainable society. It is essential to revisit our relation to nature, to understand that we are not separate of our great ecosystem Earth. Nature is not an externality, as we learn in economy. We are part of nature. And art inspires us. Art helps us shake the status quo and open new visions for the society. Art touches our emotion and it connects us with what it means to be alive, the essential part of us as human beings. The artists with Alive are amazing at connecting us with nature. Let's listen to the bird's song, like Anna Maria Hernando. Talk to your plants, like Rominar Romer. Compose poems with the trees, like Emmanuel Fillot. Or just love the earth, like Benoit Barbali. Last, one thing I learned in the classroom is that to be empowered, we need to experience. Intellectual knowledge is not enough. We have to do things, we have to experience, we have to feel if we really want to change. And this is why Alive is about experiencing this interdependence with nature. On September 18th, we had a great day at Château de la Napoule, full of experience with the artists around these relations with nature. We were poets, we were embroiderers, we were in connections with plants through music, we were connected to the earth through photography. And this is what Alive is about. It's about creativity, art, and experience. I hope it will attract more artists and creative people in the future, because the future will be the result of our choice today, and with Alive, we think that we can co-create a future that is still open. Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne. Now, let's share the affective botanique of Emmanuel Fillot. In other words, let's pay attention to the botanique around us, the elements around us, and create a relationship with them. Emmanuel, c'est à toi.
Oui, bonjour. Heureux d'être avec vous pour ces rencontres. Alors peut-être dans un premier temps, ce que je voudrais dire, c'est que lorsque j'ai répondu favorablement à l'invitation de Live et du Château de la Napoule, en fait, il y avait peut-être trois raisons. La première, bien évidemment, c'est que les enjeux que soulevait cet événement sont des enjeux fondamentaux qui ne sont pas simples à résoudre. Le rapport entre l'art et les changements climatiques, c'est un vaste sujet, mais ça valait le coup de s'engager là-dedans. La deuxième raison, c'est certainement que c'était aussi un commencement, c'était le commencement de Live, et ces moments-là sont pour moi des moments importants. J'aime les commencements. Parce qu'il y a une fraîcheur toujours, et je crois que c'est des moments à ne pas rater. La troisième raison, c'est peut-être la plus importante aussi, c'est que ça correspondait aux engagements de mon travail depuis maintenant très longtemps, engagement dans mon travail d'artiste, mais aussi parfois un engagement collectif, par exemple dans ma participation à l'Institut international de géopolitique, et, qui a eu lieu à peu près au début des années 90. J'aurai peut-être l'occasion d'y revenir plus tard. Mais ce mot géopolitique peut me permettre d'introduire ce que j'ai proposé pour l'événement qui s'est déroulé en septembre. Géo, alors on voit bien, géo c'est la terre, et poétique. On ne parle pas d'art, et peut-être ce que j'ai proposé avec ce que j'appelle les affectifs botaniques, c'est une œuvre qui n'est pas d'art. Pour reprendre la fameuse expression de Marcel Duchamp, hein, il voulait faire des œuvres qui ne soient pas d'art. Je pense que c'est quelque chose qui ressemble à ça. Donc, affectif botanique, ça mérite quand même quelques précisions. Botanique, on voit assez bien de quoi il est question. Affective, peut-être un peu moins, et je vais avoir l'occasion de le préciser. le, en fait, je crois que j'ai répondu à la fameuse formule de Rimbaud, le lieu et la formule. Le lieu et la formule. Alors, le lieu, c'était quoi? C'était le château de la Napoule. Et ce château est entouré d'un parc magnifique. Euh, et je me suis dit, mais qui habite dans ce parc? Alors, bien sûr, il y a les visiteurs, il y a les gens qui travaillent à l'intérieur, il y a des résidences d'artistes, donc il y a des artistes qui viennent. Mais qui habite réellement ce parc? Ce sont les végétaux, ce sont les êtres botaniques. Et, et donc, c'est à ça que je me suis attaché pour le lieu. Quant à la formule, bien c'est ça, c'est les affectifs botaniques. On a tous vu dans les parcs botaniques, ces étiquettes qu'on appelle étiquettes botaniques, qui proposent une description sommaire d'une plante, qui dit son nom en latin avec une nomenclature qui a été établie depuis l'inné. On a l'espèce, l'origine. En fait, c'est une sorte de carte de visite de la plante. Et ça sert en fait à la classification et à la connaissance. C'est des informations, hein, de connaissances scientifiques. Alors c'est très intéressant, hein, moi-même j'adore regarder ça. Est-ce que ça suffit? Alors, moi, je pense que non, et c'est pour ça que j'interviens à ce moment-là, pour créer un espèce de trouble dans le réel. Et c'est peut-être là où ce n'est pas tout à fait une œuvre d'art, c'est-à-dire c'est quelque chose qui va troubler le réel. Lorsqu'on s'approche des étiquettes que j'ai disposées dans le parc, au pied des plantes, eh bien, on n'a pas ces informations scientifiques, mais on a une invective, c'est-à-dire un court poème, on va dire ça comme ça, un court poème qui se présente toujours sous la même forme. Alors ça commence toujours par avec, parce que pour moi, avec, c'est une espèce de mot de passe, hein. C'est un mot de passe. J'adore ces mots de François Cheng. Le monde est son mot de passe. Le monde est son mot de passe. Alors pour moi, ce mot de passe est avec. Être avec, aller avec peut-être plus que être avec d'ailleurs. Et c'est ce qui fait que dans mon jargon, il y a tous ces mots, être avectif, une avective, ou même l'avectivité, qui serait notre capacité à entrer en relation avec les choses, les êtres et le monde. Donc tous ces petits poèmes qui sont inscrits sur les étiquettes, qui sont plantés au pied des plantes et des arbres, commencent par avec. Après, il y a une courte phrase qui dit de quelle manière cette plante se manifeste à nous. Une fois qu'on a trouvé cette phrase, alors on est autorisé à dire le nom de la plante. En fait, une invective, ça serait presque le contraire d'une définition. Une définition, ça vient toujours après. L'invective vient avant le nom. En fait, une invective, ce n'est pas nommer une plante, c'est l'appeler. Hein, ce n'est pas tout à fait pareil de nommer que d'appeler. Alors, on peut peut-être donner des exemples, tout simplement. Hein. Lorsque je dis « avec ses bourrasques de lumière, l'olivier », avec ses bourrasques de lumière, l'olivier. Bien sûr que cet olivier, sous une lumière extrêmement vive du midi, toute cette frondaison de petites feuilles vernissées, claires, très claires et vernissées, et lorsque le vent s'engouffre dedans, effectivement, ce que l'on voit réellement, c'est une bourrasque de lumière. Il nous apparaît comme ça. Hein. Ou alors, lorsqu'on dit, avec sa tignasse toujours embuée de la lumière de la lune, avec sa tignasse toujours embuée de la lumière de la lune, le cèdre. Un cèdre, ça a une apparence, une silhouette, on va dire ça comme ça, toujours un peu ébouriffé, mal peigné, C'est une tignasse, hein, c'est une tignasse toujours embuée de la lumière de la lune. C'est comme nimbé d'une lumière froide, hein. Le cèdre, il a une couleur un peu délavée, un peu bleutée, froide, et on a, même en plein jour, on a l'impression que c'est accroché à cet arbre, cette lumière froide de la lune. Donc à chaque fois, il s'agit effectivement d'essayer de trouver au plus près l'expression pour ce que l'on a perçu réellement de la chose. Alors, nous sommes bien sûr extrêmement éloignés de ces êtres botaniques. Pour nous, ils sont des autres vraiment autres. Ils sont, on pourrait dire qu'ils sont loin de nous, qu'il existe un grand espace entre eux et nous, mais je crois qu'il est possible d'entrer dans cet espace, hein. C'est entrer en relation avec les choses, les êtres, là, dans ce cas-là, les êtres botaniques et le monde. On pourrait dire que cette forme de l'affective, hein, cette forme poétique, j'allais dire, c'est comme une formule de politesse, hein. Je ne sais pas si le mot politesse est bien choisi, hein, mais derrière politesse, il y a savoir-vivre et bonne manière. Ça peut paraître un peu commun, tout ça, mais savoir-vivre, ce n'est pas rien, hein. Et des bonnes manières, alors on pourrait réunir les deux, hein, c'est en fait des bonnes manières de vivre. Là, à l'écran, on a une image, hein, d'une invective, d'un petit panneau sur lequel est écrit avec leurs soins solaires et mauves les lavandes. Ce qui m'intéressait aussi, c'était comme dans cette image, on pouvait voir les ombres de la lavande sur le support. C'est comme si la lavande écrivait elle-même quelque chose par-dessus le poème. Donc, il s'agit bien, à travers de cette proposition, d'entrer en relation poétique avec les plantes et les arbres. Alors, pour terminer, je pense à la société aborigène, qui est très éloignée, hein, de ce que je viens de dire. Et pourtant, pour les gens de cette société, pour ceux qui chantent, qui peignent, qui dansent, qui racontent des histoires, ils le font comme nous, mais dans un sens très différent, hein. C'est-à-dire qu'on pourrait résumer le sens de leur activité avec cette phrase qu'ils ont choisie, hein. La Terre, pour exister, doit être perçue et exprimée. La Terre, pour exister, doit être perçue et exprimée. C'est presque une définition originelle de l'art, hein. Perçu doit être perçu et exprimé. Mais il y a une responsabilité, hein, là-dedans, c'est que la Terre existe à travers ça. Et le sens de l'existence des hommes est autour de cette responsabilité. Voilà. Je vous remercie de m'avoir écouté.
Merci, Emmanuel. Thank you very much for this very inspiring experience. And now that we have spoken to the plant or with the plants, I don't know, maybe both, we are invited to listen to the birds, thanks to Ana Maria Hernando and her magical installation. You're on, Ana Maria.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, Anna, yes.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here. The piece that I presented on the 18th and that I have been working on for many months is called Ecoton. and it's a two-part. It's Ecuton and Pájaros para las Ñustas. I began last year. I was very touched by results of some research for many years about birds and birds, the decline of birds population in North America. And the result is that there is a fourth less birds than in 1970. And the belief is that this is the same proportion all over the earth. So I wanted to make a piece related to that around this, how many less birds we have. And usually the first birds to go are the songbirds because they are less aggressive. In the other consequence is that the diversity of birds also has been disappearing. I also, for many years, have been making dresses for the feminine spirit of the mountain. In the Andean cosmovision, mountains have masculine spirit and feminine spirit, and the mountains are the highest expression of the earth. And the earth, for us, we live on the earth. We don't think about it. We are busy with life and paying bills and going to meetings and picking up children. But our relationship to the earth is our most essential. Without the earth, we wouldn't be here. We eat from her, we breathe because of her, we walk on her. It's this relationship is, as I was saying, essential. And not being aware of this relationship, I think it's what brings a lot of sadness and both ways to the earth and to us. So with this work of Ecuton, I wanted to bring this relationship with the earth and the mountain to everybody. Before the confinement, a group of people, we were going up Le Mont Saint-Père behind the chateau, and my invitation was to go there and listen to the birds and embroider what we were listening. With the confinement, that was not possible to go up in groups. So I had the idea of asking people to send me sounds of birds. And in the quietness of the confinement that was happening all over the world, we began to be able to hear the birds singing. The birds, I suppose, are singing all the time, but with all the noise, the noises, the cars, it's hard sometimes to hear them. But in the quietness, the bird songs became the background of all sounds. So I asked people to send me simple recordings of this, and people began to send. I began to receive from all over the world, and I sat by myself embroidering these sounds. The idea of these individuals, here you can see some of them and where they were coming from. For me, sitting with these sounds was very peaceful for my heart. And also it was a way of being in this special way, not only with the birds that were singing in the recording, but with the people that sent me the sounds. And like that for months, I sat and whenever the world began to open, I began to invite other people to come and embroider too. So through all the months that I was doing this, I put together some 200 embroideries. And with these, I made a dress for the Months and Pear, for the feminine spirit of the Months and Pear. Here is Adrienne, who was coming with me to the gardens at the chateau to embroider. And he would knock on my door and say, Anna, can we go and embroider? So we both would sit and embroider while in the quietness of the garden. So when here you can see them on the wall of my, as I was gathering them. And then I began to make the dress for the mountain. And making these dresses for me is a way of relating to the feminine spirit. I'm curious about it. I want to learn about it. And also, it became a devotional activity. Like, when you go to churches, there's all the virgins and the statues they have. They are clothes that have been made by people as a devotional act. So my making a dress for the mountain, here you can see at the studio the process of it. It was a devotional act of giving this gift to the mountain, out of the birds of the songs of birds from all over, what people had sat and sent me and recorded, and what I was doing. In doing so, in inviting people to send me their recordings, I wanted to open the opportunity for this simple connection with nature, individual, like each person on their walks or by their windows, to connect and take in these sounds. When we connect with nature, nature cleans us from any heaviness, any sadness. And this year has been such a year of sadness all over the world in a way that frontiers have disappeared. And we have become one in our needs, in our urgencies, in our sorrows, and in our ways of being together. So connecting to the birds and to nature, I find it's a way of nourishing ourselves and to become new. When I was working towards putting this piece together, Rominar was helping me, Rominar Romer was helping me to gather all the little sounds all into one piece. And so once all the sounds were together, she said, listen to them. So to make sure everything was fine, to have it with the piece. So I was doing in the studio different things and I was listening. And those days were heavy for me for many other worries, family, other things that we all have in life. And the moment I began to listen to this symphony of sounds, I could feel much lighter. I could feel happier and freer. And when we are lighter and freer, we can move and we can enter the world of the undomesticated, where we can be one with nature, and our creativity and what is possible becomes bigger. So I'm grateful to everybody who have sent the sounds and for what it has given to me. And I feel how we are in this circle of giving each other these gifts of nature when we connect with nature. In this photo, you can see here is how the dress for the new stuff, for the feminine spirit of the mountain began to happen. And over time, with more of the embroidered pieces, the dress began to grow, and it will keep growing until I put all of the embroideries. Maybe we can see some of the details. So each of the embroideries are pinned to the dress, and the sound of the birds, you can hear it when you go into the room. And here, the day on the September 18th, I invited people to listen to the sounds and embroider. And then on the left is Lolita, who was coming in the last month I was at the chateau. She was coming and embroidering with me. Thank you, everybody. I invite you just to go into the snow, go to the sea, go to the woods, go wherever you are, and feed yourself with nature. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anna, for this very inspiring experience you share with us. And that reminds me so much memories of what we did at the chateau. And so now we are going to another experience that is offered by Rominar Romer, and very special one. So we are going with her to listen to the whisper of nature. That will be also very special. So you're on, Rominar.
So, hi everyone, thank you very much, Nancy, and thanks everyone of this group. It's a pleasure to meet you all again. Well, my name is Rominar Romer. I'm composer, pianist, improviser. And since some years ago, I'm like I'm including like my, how to say, connection, love with all what we call nature. I include it into what I create and in my creative experiences, let's say, because not everything is just as we understand traditionally music, you will see. So first, to introduce this idea of whispers of nature, maybe I say two words about how this started. I was kind of fascinated by all the forms that are constantly created in all the nature. I will give examples. I was in Lyon some years ago, looking at the two rivers and appreciating like the different shapes that the river was making in both sides. And for me, it was like a piece of art in continuously changing and evolving. And so I thought, okay, let's turn it into music. So, I mean, it's nothing new. The Chinese neo-Confucius, I don't know in English, like Confucian, called Li this kind of like continuous flow of these dynamic forms of nature. And there have been many composers and artists from different fields, especially in all the period called, or the movement, sorry, called ecosophy. There were a lot of creations inspired by this conscious of us as a part of the environment, us like acting in this space. So there are different points of view. I was just like discovering all these a lot of composers in this way, because for me, I thought it was just like in nature, some, I don't know, some kind of source of abstract inspiration, but actually there were a lot of, I will mention, for example, Lucier, c'était un compositeur, sorry, I'm speaking in French. It was a composer that did a lot of like amazing experiences, kind of mixing science and music to bring to life these events, and that we cannot necessarily hear. In my case, the interest at the beginning was with meteorology, because I thought, wow, it would be fantastic to capture this kind of flow of nature and to make it audible, but how should I do it? So I started taking data from some online station. At the beginning, writing notes. Afterwards, I just thought I will introduce informatics here, because it will be very slow to. So after some experiences, taking around, it was like 28 different cities in the world, temperature, humidity, etc., like different values. I was turning them into musical parameters. And after that, I came to the world of plants. It was quite, I was quite impulsed by intuition. It was just the meteorology was, it's amazing, but I thought, well, this is a large field of sounds. I can filter them, but I thought that the plants could give me some like smaller scale experience. So I will show you. I will try to make you hear something so you can have an idea of some raw data turned into sound. So I started using some microprocessor, like small computers, let's say, to be able to capture information of different parameters of the plants. I just started with basically temperature, voltage, and humidity. And right now I'm in the step of, okay, let's go to incorporate another element, but it was already a lot. So what I wanted to do is, as I was saying, to try to this kind of flow that exists in everything that is alive, to make it possible to hear it. And at the same time, it came out with plants, the possibility to experience the contact with this plant as some kind of like awakeness experience, because especially with voltage, it's a parameter that changes quite fast in exchange with the environment, and also us as part of the environment. So when we approach to a plant, we are immediately like producing changes, and I mean in both sides. But for me, it was surprising that especially with experiences with kids, how like surprised they were of this thing of like, okay, I approached, I got closer to it, and it reacts, and I can hear it. So what? I will stop talking. Well, maybe I will just make you hear some short excerpts of it. So now it's my time of sharing. Over. So. Partager l'écran. I hope it works. Okay. 1 second. I will put down. So I will make you hear some like short excerpts of like some row zonification of these 3 parameters of 4 different plants. We have the chamomile, Christ marine, lavande, and angelica. So we start hearing the chamomile. I hope you can hear. If you don't do it, maybe Marianne, you can tell me, hey, Rominar, we cannot hear you. Let's go. Further, so you can hear another one. Let's see the Christ marine that will be around here. Yes. So let's see. So what we hear, actually, I will put a little lower. So what we hear actually is these different parameters that I'm not in this case. I'm not in this case interacting as I did in other times, trying to play with the proximity, with the presence between the plants and me. But it was quite just like putting the sensors, like processing this data and just transforming them into like MIDI notes, some kind of code in music for like, especially what it is electroacoustic music. And but this idea of incorporating different elements is because every organism are very complex. So I needed to, and this is nothing, it's just 3 parameters, and where I'm not transforming like or approaching notes to some tonality or whatever. It's just what comes out, and I think that plants are quite interesting because these relationships between the different parameters create very interesting flows. Okay, just the last one, maybe. Let's see, this is the lavande. How I put it, please. I know this is an angelica or angelique. So this is just at the first impression to share. Maybe next time we can I hope we can continue to make people be part of these experiences. And hope it can bring some new perspectives or new experiences that could touch our culture. So thank you very much for everyone. And I give the word, the parole, let's see.
Thank you very much, Romina, and thank you very much to each of you. This was really, really great and a very good reminder of what we had on last September, and we hope to be able to do that again for real, not under a screen. But it's still, the emotion is still here. I think we can, everybody can light on his camera and put his microphone at work. And I don't know if there is questions. I don't see any on the Zoom, and I don't have access to the YouTube. So Romina, if you can check if there is. Otherwise, I have some questions.
Yeah, I can check also.
Yeah, if you check if there is a question, because for some reason it doesn't work for me. But I can begin with the question, and then if there is more, we can add them. It's a question for all of you. And you can maybe answer the first one who wants to answer it. Is how did you come to speak, create, produce pieces about climate change, nature? Was it an evidence from the first beginning of your work, or did you felt an emergency to talk about it? And even you, Marianne, how did you came to teach climate change? What was your, how all did that begin? What was what made you do that?
The trigger for me, Nelsie, was actually at school when I was at a university in the US, and we had a negotiation class, and which was on a negotiation of climate change agreement. So we were, really in the role of negotiators, negotiating for 24 hours. And for me, this is one of the most salient experience of my studies there. And it made me understand actually the dimension of the issue, what was at stake, and how it was actually about collective intelligence to be able to tackle this issue. So, and this is also how I became aware of the importance of education in tackling climate change.
Thank you, Marianne. Anyone who wants to? Anna Maria?
So for me, I didn't come to it because of climate change. I mean, of course, it hurts to see the consequences of climate change, but the attraction for me came years ago, where in the work I began to move closer to flowers and closer to nature, and very much intrigued by what I was talking before about the life and the life that nature provides us as humans, and the spiritual connection, the happiness that I feel when I'm by a creek and just hearing the water trickling and what it does to my body. So that has been for me I wasn't thinking about, I'm going to do pieces about nature. It just began to happen more because being with nature makes me feel well, I'm full. I feel that all of the parts of me, my heart, my mind, my soul are alive and aligned. And also, when I'm in nature, I feel that my borders are not these borders, but I become bigger, I become one with the sounds and the wind and the colors and the hours of the day and the light of the moon. So I think that's how I began to focus into nature, or nature began to focus on me. I'm not sure how it works, but it has been coming into my work more and more. And of course, the urgencies of climate change that are impossible to deny, especially every year that passes. There's the consequences are, we all feel them. So in that way, it's a way also to talk about that and the urgency. I feel how we are at this edge of life and death, and every action we take has a consequence for that. And so that in that awareness, that urgency also has come into my work. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else about this subject, Romina or Emmanuel?
Rominar.
I think no, I was gonna say just that that it's following Anna Maria. I was thinking that actually it's interesting these different experiences, how they make us relate with something that is all the time around us, but it's as if we our perception of things would change through this experience where we involve our presence, our how to say it, we are present, we have to hear, to be there. And actually it's not just like I thought it also for the people that, for example, that on the meeting between all of us, and I was hearing Anna Maria, and they were resounding these words of, for some mystical encounters, that some project related to our meetings. And I also was thinking Emmanuel, how like he was with this Avectic, and then we met, and then he was reading, and it was this kind of circumstances that make us encounter also between humans, no? Because I feel that it's this connection with when we say with nature, also is at least as I understand it, as we as part of this, is also to connect with us. So I'm very glad. It's very inspiring what everyone does in its different aspects, and I hope that we can also like discover like people that can also be interested in joining, and it will be, it's more than welcome. I think that for all of us. So yeah, just
Thank
sharing.
you, Romina. Emmanuel, tu avais quelque chose à dire?
Oui, si j'ai bien compris la question, il s'agit de savoir un peu comment on est...
C'est ça, comment vous êtes arrivé à produire des œuvres en lien avec la nature? Est-ce que c'était une... Voilà.
Oui, alors, je ne sais pas, c'est une question difficile pour moi, parce que j'ai l'impression d'une évidence depuis l'enfance. Hein. Moi, je suis né dans une famille où la culture existait très peu. Hein, et par contre, il y avait un rapport presque traditionnel à la nature. Et je m'aperçois de plus en plus, en côtoyant d'autres gens, que j'ai eu une chance incroyable d'avoir ça comme héritage, comme formation de base, on va dire. Donc ça commence là, ça commence dans l'enfance. comme une évidence. Après, ça a pris d'autres formes. Là aussi, c'est un peu historique peut-être. C'est que j'appartiens à une génération qui a vu se développer le mouvement écologique sur le plan politique, qui était, où j'ai pu m'engager quand j'étais adolescent attardé, disons. Bon, on a pris des coups de matraque, et ça n'a rien changé. C'est-à-dire que cet engagement m'a paru un peu vain. Et, le monde allait dans un autre sens. On aurait mieux fait de nous écouter, vu le dégât actuel. Après, il y a eu des engagements lorsque je me suis engagé dans dans l'art. Il m'a paru évident que c'était de ça que j'avais envie d'explorer. Mais c'est de l'ordre de l'évidence. Après, il y a eu un gros travail le fait, en particulier, je parlais tout à l'heure de la géopoétique, qui a été un mouvement initié par un poète qui s'appelle Kenneth White, un poète écossais, dans un moment où il y avait beaucoup de gens qui parlaient d'écosophie, d'écophilosophie, d'écopoétique, d'écologie de l'esprit, enfin tous ces termes-là et ces notions-là étaient brassés à l'époque. Donc, dans la géopolitique, il y avait cette idée de repenser fondamentalement notre relation au monde et à la Terre, à la biosphère, et d'appuyer ça sur la notion de poétique comme une espèce de connaissance originelle, de connaissance. J'ai un ami qui parle de connaissance amont, hein, à l'origine, à la source, quoi. Donc ça a été une aventure intéressante, d'autant plus que c'était dans les années 90. Nous n'avions pas cette espèce de pression, on n'avançait pas avec le couteau dans le dos comme aujourd'hui, avec ce sentiment d'urgence. Alors ça avait un côté négatif qui fait que l'audience n'a pas été celle qu'on pouvait attendre. C'était un peu trop tôt, certainement. En même temps, ça avait un avantage incroyable, c'est que vu qu'il n'y avait pas cette espèce de pression, ça permettait du travail de fond, un vrai travail de fond. Et donc, je ne sais pas, c'est peut-être ma réponse. Alors, c'est vrai que je n'ai pas une attitude, comment dire, je ne découvre pas l'importance de notre relation à la Terre. À cause d'une catastrophe imminente, éventuelle, ou je ne sais quoi. C'est pas de cet ordre-là, en tout cas.
Merci Manuel. Non, ta réponse était très intéressante. Et
je voulais.
Oui, vas-y Marianne.
Non,
Rominar.
Alors, c'était juste parce que je n'avais pas compris la réponse, donc j'ai juste répondu. Mais peut-être que ce que je voulais ajouter, c'est que moi particulièrement, je me guide beaucoup pour mon côté intuitif, parce que je trouve que même si on essaye vraiment de tout réfléchir, ok, c'est vraiment trop ambitieuse. Ah, sorry, I changed the language. Sorry, so I was saying that I think that in my case particularly, I guide myself a lot for intuition of what, I don't know how to describe it, but this kind of larger perception of things. And for me, it's not that we go for things, it's sometimes that maybe we need to get closer to some things, to sensibiliser some aspects. So it's kind of like we are all like a channel to, let's say this way, to throughout it we are all dealing with sensibility. And it's just if as I know that there were different moments of that where this questions came out, but I think that we feel things so it's a presence of being here in this today that we are touched by more or less consciously for reality. So I think that then we realize later with time, maybe the reasons why, but it's also like a part of like we are mean, and this is my vision, mean to do some things. It's not just that we are like yes, I was looking for some inspiration for make a composition. So I think that it's more like like we are all in some press, some moments. So we are, I wanted to add also that. Like, thank you.
Thank you, Romina. I think you matched my second question, who was, as Emmanuel said, a lot of, I mean, he said that he had a time of activism that he felt a little bit useless, and so moved to other way of expressions and creation for more meaningful for him. And did you realize, and I'm sure Marianne totally realized that that's why she took this path of teaching, that your creations, even if it wasn't meant to be an activism act, but something very intuitive. Anna Maria said an evidence, so it's something else. But are you aware that your creations, your music, your poetry, your installation, your paintings, everything are very valuable and incredible tools for people and for professors to take a new path to teach and to sensibilize people to climate change? Were you aware of that, or I know it's probably came after the intuition of the evidence at the beginning, but then, and I think this is all why we are here, because we want this different approach, because we want to be inspired by art, by creativity, and not use or listen to all the same talks.
If no one talks, I will talk. No, but just a small, like, where some experiences with kids, and I was with this thing of plants. Actually, one of the first steps to doing these experiences was with kids, and for me it was like this reaction of first of like thinking. I remember a kid saying like, "Oh, the plants sing, they are alive." I was like, "This is crazy." And then also because me as a musician, as everyone that has played an instrument, we are trained through years to develop more sensibility to manipulating this object called instrument. And well, it's a lot of elements, no? But in this case, I was like making like with them some ensemble with plants in the Sirma here in Nice, and I was amazed of how just this idea of creating music with through the touch or just the approach was like awakening so much attention of this. They were, I don't know, around 11 years old, something like that. And so something that takes a lot of time, sometimes when you give someone take a violin, then this kind of natural, how to say, I don't know how to say, but immediately just puts in the front this kind of sensibility. So I thought was, wow. And in general, for me, the greatest idea comes from like people that come to what you are presenting, and this exchange is the best. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah. So you did experience what that your work was a pedagogical way of bringing
and even though if it is quite how to say, like by intuition, but it makes for me also, if it these kind of things happen, then it makes sense also for me, because otherwise I'm not the type of like, yeah, me alone. Like, I prefer like to come to the encounter and to share this experience with people.
Yeah, thank you, Romina. Someone else want to say something about how either the result of your creation or the way you created it, you had the experience that it brought people to really reconnect with nature, either showing and
for me, thank you, Nelsie. For me, when I like I'm sorry, I make my work, and then I don't know who is going to see it. I put it out into the world. But with the piece of Ecotone, there were all of these very personal connections because of people sending the sounds, and along the sounds that they were sending from birds they could hear in their garden, they would also, they were also sending all these little stories. So somebody who would go on their walks, and then they would say, oh, now when I go on my walks, I really am listening to birds, or oh, now I see, we sit with my neighbor and the birds go from one garden to the other. And of course, birds don't follow our limits. The birds move. And so I was getting all of these little stories of people experiences with nature and with birds. And some people, they send me sounds of lakes or rivers or things that were touching them. So that personal connection was very satisfactory to me. But what I know is when I make the work, my work is to make it, to make things. And then I put it out there into the world, and I hope the world is listening. And yeah, I think that's as artists, our antennas we are picking up what's happening, what's needed, and then we move those things around, we transform them, and we make of art or our work that we present. It's a kind of a translation, and then we present, and then from there the work goes, and people might take this or might take that. We don't know. It's the life of the piece that keeps hopefully going.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anna. And you, Marianne, how do you feel about what you heard about how they create, how they think their project, and how because you're the one who came up with this idea of including the artistic approach and the artist mind in your in rethinking climate change.
Yes, we need different approach. We need to rethink the way we approach the issue, because we see that climate science is not enough. People know the facts. Now, who can say that he doesn't know about the facts and the urgency of acting? But why don't people move? Why don't people change? What is this factor of inertia? And psychologists say very clearly that, in the face of a great threat, we tend to flight or fight. But there should be a middle way. The middle way is to act. and to act proactively and to act, now. Yes, we are in the present. I totally agree with Emmanuel. It's not in the future. It's now that we need to change. And let's say that culture has a great power to inspire people at a large scale. And we need a paradigm shift at a large scale. So this is a kind of experiment, but art, music, paintings, have influenced society very profoundly and have helped people change in very profound ways. And so in the past. And so I think there is a lot to explore. Yes, this doesn't have to be really intentional. This is experiment. And, we need to see whether it works or it doesn't work. But I think from the young people also, there is this call for a future, and it's legitimate. How can you say people, oh, you don't have a future? It's actually, we are not our generation, we can't say this. They have actually, everything is still open. And yes, this will require a great effort, a great mobilization, and great transformation among the society. But everything is still open. And creativity, actually mobilized in a good way, can help us imagine a better world. And there will be a lot of advantages. A world that will be more connected to nature is a healthier world, is a world where we have more peace, where we have more well-being, where we have more interconnection with the living. And so it's up to us to invent this new world. And it's also, for me, the young generation have so much energy and ideas and creativity. It's also, they are part of the solution. We are all part of the solution. And art can help us in this way.
Thank you very much, Marianne. It's a very joyful conclusion to our talks and presentation. So if nobody else has any question, I think we can go to the conclusion. So thank you very much for those presentations and for explaining your way. And it was really, really a great moment. And we all hope that this group Alive will grow, and we want to add any person who is interested who share the interest of climate change, education, art, creativity, and who share also our vision, which is, as you all have seen, positive and optimistic and inspiring. We find new ways of talking about climate change. And we will be very happy if anybody wants to join. You can use the email address that was on the invitation to contact us, and we will be happy to contact you and open the dialogue and include you in all our communication. It's just there, alive@climate@gmail.com. And so do not hesitate to use. Do not hesitate also to follow us on social medias. And our group is very new, so thank you for everybody who has listened to us. And we hope to do much more events, maybe virtual events, but also real events in the future. And we will communicate everything on Facebook, on Instagram, on our website. So thank you for having been with us, and thank you for contacting us if you're interested to talking with us and to know more about the Alive group. And thank you to all of you for your wonderful participation.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.